Hi, everybody. So today we are with the BMT Brazil teacher training course, the mindfulness teacher training, a collaboration between myself, Tamara Russell, and the teachers and trainers from Casa de Auto and Iniciativa Mindfulness. And we're looking at session 4 of BMT today, which is habits. We've come through motor inhibition, pausing and slowing down. We've looked at this capacity within the motor system and other systems of the brain to be aware of things before they happen. And we've looked at the various qualities and capacities of the attentional system as our primary tool to gather data, and particularly different sorts of data that often lies outside of our awareness. So now we move to the mental movements, or the mental monkeys, as I call them. These movements and activities that we experience in the space of the mind, often quite subtle, sometimes quite ferocious, quite obvious. And we become interested in how to de-chunk what happens in the space of the mind, particularly when we're triggered. When our salience network is activated, this is often because there's something new or different, unknown, or perhaps even something that feels dangerous or threatening that may be activating our threat system. And this is when we open a door or a portal to seeing how our mind responds or reacts when things are not as we want them to be. So we begin to explore this. And while much of well-being is about developing healthy habits, in the mindfulness work, we're also interested in deconditioning those habits that are no longer helping us. We approach them with kindness because we recognize that these were mental processes and things that our brain was doing to try to help us stay safe at some point. Some of this may be quite historical, coming from our childhood experiences and moments in our life when we were not able to get our needs met in healthy ways. So as we approach our mental habits and engage with our mental monkeys, we want to continue to develop our skills of compassion, kindness, and patience. And recognize that when we're doing this deeper work, it's rarely something that we can do in one take. We're working with neural networks, perhaps neural networks that have been trained over decades, that we just start to become aware of. And so our task is repetition, engagement, the 3 C's, curiosity, courage, and compassion. So in the BMT method, we're using the moving body and postures and stances that draw on Tai Chi principles, martial arts principles, to help really illuminate what it is that we're dealing with. But once we've illuminated it, that's really when the work begins. So we go into this session with some illumination, some provocation exercises, so people can really get a sense of what they're dealing with when they come to the space of the mind and they start working with their mental monkeys. And I use the language of monkeys here because, like monkeys in the trees that we see in nature, they can look quite cute, but actually they've got really sharp teeth and sometimes they're not so friendly. But this is just how they are. So we want to bring a little bit of lightness to this topic because otherwise it can get a little bit painful and a bit heavy. But that's not to minimize. Sometimes what we're really dealing with is deep levels of distress, uncertainty, and not knowing how to manage things. So we balance this, the lightness with the seriousness, and do our best to increase our intention and motivation to work differently with our mind, because it's through this process that we can have very different experiences in our life and in our relationships with ourselves, with others, and with the world. So looking forward to diving in, as always, with the great team, working with this amazing professionals, Danny, Clarissa, Tiago, all those that support the BMT training. And of course, a big shout out to all those students that have traveled with us along the years, thanking you for your kindness, your patience, and your commitment to body and mind training. Thank you.